Hey folks, I just parked up in this cool little town called Texas. But it's got public showers and toilets right in town. Memorial Hall, Cultural Center. The Spirit of Texas, a tribute to the resilience of the community of Texas. Well, there you go. See, Texas isn't that big. Good to know it's a dementia-friendly community. And I am going across the road to this cafe because I drove past a couple. They were all empty. They were closed. And this one was packed. So he's hoping it's half decent. How's it going, everyone? I'm about an hour, I want to say, south of Toowoomba right now. That's a guess. I'm excited about coming back to Toowoomba, like on this big road trip down to Tasmania. I did have an intermission. I drove to Sydney, and then I flew from Sydney to Toowoomba to go to the memorial that I was talking about, and I went back to Sydney last Friday. Today is now Wednesday, and I've just made my way back up to Toowoomba, stopping at a few places like that Dorrigo National Park that I showed you. So I am going to do a few things. I've got to tidy up some stuff, get things prepared for my next adventure. And at the moment there's only a very small group of people who know what's happening next, and I trust them impeccably. And so you lot, I don't trust you lot at all, not one bit. Nope. So I'm hoping they don't let the cat out of the bag, but I'm pretty excited for the next adventure. It's the biggest trip I've ever done. I'll put it that way. The biggest trip I have ever done. And I can't wait. So I'm going to do some preparation for this. And one of the things I'm going to do is, I think I really better clean Casper. You know, just show some love. Get things sorted and reset everything in. Casper also needs desperately to have a service. I've just done a mega road trip, definitely a big road trip, 6,500 kilometers, I think nearly 7,000 kilometers by the time I actually get back to Toowoomba. For those who don't know, that's my home base, if you will. Even though Casper is my home, that's where my mail goes, and all my connections are there, and things like that. So I see Toowoomba as my home base. So I've got to pick up some mail, I've got to pick up some different things. I've got to go to a place called Autobarn, or Super Cheap Auto, which is like an automotive store, and I've got to grab just a small wattage solar panel that will go on the dashboard, so it could trickle charge the car battery. One of the problems with buying an ex-ambulance is all the wiring that they put in. When they cut it out, sometimes they don't take out all the wiring that was installed, right? I know for a fact that because I weighed it, right? This is how I know for a fact. When I did my camper van conversion in the back, I took all the ceiling panels off, everything like that, because I redid the ceiling. And I took out 40 kilograms, that's 40 kilograms of dead wires and equipment that I had no use for, because it's not an ambulance anymore, and those pieces of equipment aren't in the vehicle, right? So there's no point having those wires in there. But 40 kilograms was just under that, 39 point something kilograms. But that's a lot of weight just in wires. But there is a real struggle to try and find them all the dead wires and decommissioned wires. And so notoriously with an ex-ambulance is you're going to get what's called parasitic draw, and that's where if you just leave the car sitting alone, it still has power coming out, and there's only one battery in the vehicle, which is the starter battery, because the ambulance service takes out the spare batteries and recycles them and put them into the next unit, right? Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to try and take as much of the equipment out and they put it into the next unit so they can get them out the door quicker. You know, like the the diesel heater was removed out of this one, but a lot of the wiring was left behind, and the hose, which taps into the diesel fuel tank, is still connected. So if I want to buy a diesel heater and put it in, it's pretty easy to do, right? I actually left those components behind because I wasn't sure, but in Australia, I haven't needed to have the diesel heater. Now, I know I just whinged about Tasmania being cold, but that's a very short window, right? I live in a subtropical environment in Queensland. Heaters aren't necessarily on the top of our agenda. Air conditioners, however, yeah, airflow and the like you definitely need. So this parasitic draw means that if I leave the van sitting for at least 3 days, my car battery will be dead. True story. I didn't know that. I learnt the hard way, and I parked it up for, I think, nearly a week. I was camping without starting him up, and I went to start him up and I was dead. Gonski. And the volts from memory were ridiculously low at like 10 volts or something, right? It was kaput. Anyway, so I jump started the car, although I know I shouldn't do this, but I jump started it using my lithium batteries. And before you get all carried away, I was several hundred kilometers away. Yes, several hundred kilometers away from the nearest town. So I couldn't exactly get someone to jump me with the car. So I used what I had and took a risk and jolted the Casper alive with my lithium battery. And then the first thing I did was I went and bought an actual Noco jumper pack, which was powerful enough to kickstart a 3-litre diesel. And that was a game changer. So anyway, for about 3 months, the only way I could start the car, no matter what happened, the alternator wasn't charging the battery. Well, it was charging the battery, but it wasn't holding the charge. The only way I could start Casper was with that jumper, the booster thing from Noco. I went and saw a battery guy and said, look, can you tell me what's going on here with this battery? And he told me, no, the battery's done, right? It's destroyed. And because it's an AGM battery, it just cooked. And yeah, it just wouldn't hold charge at all. It was as good as a doorstop. So I had to save up a little bit of money, and $700 later, I bought a new battery. And I'd never let it go more than a day before starting Casper up. Anyway, I've never found this parasitic draw. I've been looking for a year now and still haven't been able to find it. Auto electricians haven't been able to find it, but something is drawing the power heavily, and it's something that the ambulance service has put in, of course, but yeah, not being able to see it. So I think by having this trickle charge means that I could park up at camping spots a little longer and not have to worry about the battery dying and killing another nearly, I think it was just under $695, something like that, $700 battery. I do have solar on the roof, and what I've been doing recently, I suppose, maybe the last 6 months. Yeah, it would be, well, actually no, more than 6 months. It was before Christmas, so we're talking about maybe 9 months ago. What I've been doing is reconnecting my solar, which powers my lithium batteries. I reconfigure it for AGM and then trickle charge my AGM batteries. But that's a whole pain in the ass, because I've got to go into my charge controller and change the settings and then switch it over. And there's one time I forgot not to change the settings, but I forgot it wasn't connected to the I forgot I had it connected to the car, and I thought it was charging my house batteries when it wasn't. And yeah, that just created a bit of a problem for me. So anyway, that was called Sandy Creek. It was very sandy. There was no water, just sand. Look at all this canola. It's bright yellow. It just looks stunning. And then over this side, I don't know. I don't think you believe me. I just saw a bison. Yeah, there's a road here. I'm going to turn around here. Let's go back and I'll show you.
Turn right.
See?
Head west on Felton Clifton Road towards Taylor Road. Continue on Felton Clifton Road for 2 kilometres.
No. I want to see this bison. Oh, can I pull in here? Oh, I don't know if I can pull over here. This might be a little bit iffy. That's a very steep angle I'm on. Oh. Look. Look. Ready? I'm going to zoom in. There is a bison. All right, I'm going to try and zoom in a bit better. Hold on. There you go, look. Tell me that's not a bison amongst all these horses. And then over here, beautiful horses they are. Where are you? There's another one. How crazy. Look at the angle Casper is on. This is probably really soft soil. I had to make sure I left my tyres on the bitumen just so I could get back up. All right. Now tell me, right, did you think I was telling you a porky? There was 2 bison there and they had ear tags on. I could see the ear tags. That's crazy to me. I wonder, like, is there a market for bisons? Do they breed them? Or is it, like, what are they doing? Not that it's any of my business, but I'm just curious because it's such a really random thing to see just south of Toowoomba. Everyone else has got cows. cows and they're growing shit. This guy's got bison and horses. Go figure. Anyway, I'm almost at this destination. It's Rudd's Pub. And I don't normally drink during the day, right? But it is a pub. And I had a mega breakfast, more like a brunch, only about an hour or so ago. So I'm not going to eat anything here, like a meal, but I might grab a snack or something. But I don't want to go in there and show you guys and not patronize them. Otherwise, I'll be just patronizing them. Glorious day. Slightly overcast, but just glorious.
In 500 meters, turn left onto Sister Kenny Street.
Sister Kenny Street. Oh, nice. Welcome to Nobby. Is Rudd's Pub. Like I said, it's a really famous pub, so we'll go in and check that out. I just saw a sign back there that said,
in 500 meters, continue straight onto Greenmount Nobby Road.
That way. The sign back there leaving Nobby, I couldn't get the camera out quick enough. There was someone behind me and it said, do EV drivers...
Continue straight onto Greenmount Nobby Road.
Why does it tell me a direction when there's nowhere else to go?
Continue for 8 kilometers.
Like, just... Anyway, sat-nav drives me crazy. The sign said, do EV drivers listen to AC/DC or something more current? Let's go. I loved it. Anyway, moving on. Well, I've got to go into the good old Commonwealth Bank and see if I can get some funny money. All right, where am I going to put it? Here we go, in this corner. Thanks, Jackie.